So today we're going to talk about how to fill out our logbooks. Before we get to the actual logbook though, I want to remind you that you can only drive 11 hours a day before you take a 10-hour break, or from the time you start to the time you stop, if it's 14 hours, you have to pull over and take a 10-hour break. Also, you cannot drive any more than 60 hours in a week. After you've hit your 60 hours, you have to pull over and take 34-hour break. Okay, now that I've reminded you about that, let's get to the actual logbook. Here's an actual example of a logbook. You'll notice that the logbook has a date that you'll need to fill out, carrier name, carrier address. If you have a different terminal address, you can put that there, or a co-drive. Also, you'll need the equipment number, which is usually the vehicle identification number, and it'll go here. And you'll also need a shipment number, which you can find on your bill of lading, that will go here. Now, we've got a graph down here with 4 distinct categories. You'll notice the graph is 24 hours going from midnight to noon, and then noon to 12. And although different logbooks look a little bit different, all of them are going to require this same basic information. Off-duty is reserved for when you are not driving at all. Sleeper is reserved for if you're sleeping in the truck, which does not affect drive-away drivers. Driving is for when you're driving. And on-duty is when you're on duty but you're not driving. Times when you're inspecting your vehicle, you're doing paperwork, or you're getting fuel would be examples of on-duty not driving time. Let's say we're picking up a vehicle at 7 o'clock in the morning in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we're off-duty from midnight to 7. So you'll come up to the off-duty area and drive a line over from midnight to 7. So that's your off-duty for 7 hours. And you'll notice at the end here, my app, which is an iPhone app called Driver's Daily Log, automatically adds this for you. If you're keeping paper logbooks, which you can find at any truck stop, you'll actually have to write this in at the end of the day. I like my app because it gives me nice straight lines, and it does a lot of the calculations for me. Anyway, so we're picking up our vehicle at 7, so we're going to inspect our vehicle before we start driving. So we drop our line down at 7 to on duty, not driving, and then we take it up a little bit, and this gives us a line here, and we're going to write pre-trip inspection, and we're going to write where it took place. It was Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, and then we're going to come up here and we're going to start driving. We're going to drive for a couple hours. We're going to realize we're getting low on fuel. So at 9 o'clock, we're going to stop to get fuel. So we draw our line driving from 7:15 to 9, and we drop down in another 15 minutes it's going to take us to get fuel. We stop for fuel in Joplin, Missouri. So we're going to write what we did, which was get fuel. And then we're going to write our location. You always have to write your location in this area and what you did when you stopped. Anytime you change duty status, you need to go ahead and mark this, because if you get pulled over by the DOT, they want to see everything you've done up until that time. Now, we're going to go back to driving again. So we start driving, and about 11:45 we're going to get hungry. So 11:45 we're going to stop for lunch. Well, lunch isn't us working, it's off duty. So we're going to take this up here. We're going to go all the way up to the top, and we're going to say it took us 45 minutes for lunch. Now, so we're going to mark the 45 minutes. Now, we need to mark where we stopped. So we stopped for lunch, so we'll put lunch break in here, and we're going to say that we stopped in Springfield, Missouri. So we're going to write Springfield, Missouri in this column. Okay, so there we go. We got our lunch break in Springfield. Now, before we start driving again, though, we're going to have to inspect the vehicle. So we drop it all the way down to on duty, not driving. And we do a pre-trip again, because we want to make sure no one hit us or we didn't run over a nail and we got a flat tire. So we do our pre-trip inspection again. And we're in Springfield. Once we fill that out, we go back up here and we start driving again. Now we drive and we realize again we need fuel. So we're going to stop for fuel. So we come down here, we're stopping for fuel. So we put fuel, and we're in St. Louis, Missouri when we do this. Okay, so we've got our fuel and we're on our way. So then we come back up here, we're driving again, and it's getting kind of late and we're kind of tired, so we're going to pull over here at 6:45, and we're in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're going to be done for the day. And we're done driving. Okay, so I'm going to go through here and clean up a couple of these little remarks. Now again, if you're keeping a paper book, you need to do this with paper, but if you're doing a digital and you get pulled into a weigh station or pulled over by the DOT, you're going to need to print these out. So you either need to have a printer or access to some way to print these out for the DOT. Now, at the end of here, we're going to add up all our hours. So we're going to come up here, we're going to look at, we've got 13 hours of not driving. We've got 0 hours that we're in the sleeper. We've got 10 hours of driving, and we've got 1 hour of not duty. You'll notice my screen just changed. This was so I could show you the completed example. Now, these hours in these 4 boxes should add up to 24, but the only actual work we did today was our driving and our on-duty not driving. So both of these are on duty, so that equals 11. Now here's our 6 and 7 day counts. You need to total these hours, subtract them from 60. This is our first day working, so we've got 49 hours available until we have to do a 34-hour reset. The other thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to come up here and put in the amount of miles we drove in the day. So we drove 630 miles because we drove from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Indianapolis, Indiana. And then we need to sign this. This is a basic DOT logbook page, and this is how you'll fill it out. You'll fill out one every day. I'm remembering to take the appropriate breaks. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you need to go back and review it, please do so at this time.